Grief Karga said you were coming.
What else did he say?
He said you were the best in the parsec. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
You are a Mandalorian. Your ancestors rode the great mythosaur.
Your name will be legendary.
I don't know if you heard, but the Empire is gone.
We have you 4-1.
I like those odds.
Grief Karga said you were coming.
What else did he say?
He said you were the best in the parsec. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
You are a Mandalorian. Your ancestors rode the great mythosaur.
Your name will be legendary.
I don't know if you heard, but the Empire is gone.
We have you 4-1.
I like those odds.
Hello and welcome to Mandalorian Minute. I'm Travis Fishburne.
I am Alex Brunel.
I'm Dustin Meadows.
And this week we are going to be talking about season premiere of season 3, chapter 17, The Apostate. Not to be confused with The Prostate, which was a different episode of another show I watched on accident prepping for this, and has nothing to do with The Mandalorian.
That reminds me of the time that I accidentally watched the pilot of Dawson's Creek thinking it was an alien abduction special. That is a real thing I did.
Anyway, what made you think that that's what it was?
Because a little brand new network called the WB took over UPN's previous channel slot on my cable provider growing up. And I was tuning in to watch the alien abduction special at a certain time on what I thought was UPN. And what I was watching was the WB that didn't yet have a corner bug. So I was very confused. Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County is the special I'm talking about for anybody who's curious. But this week's episode of The Mandalorian is about The Mandalorian begins an important journey, it says. That is the promotional say-nothing synopsis of this episode.
Wow. I mean, what more can you say? It really tells everything. Spoilers.
He definitely begins a journey.
Yeah,
he does.
This week, The Mandalorian does a thing somewhere.
I think I remember a Breaking Bad one that was just like, Walter hatches a plan.
Yes. Having just rewatched that in the last 6 months, that was absolutely an episode log line.
That was every week. But I think with this one, probably, just kind of keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
Spoiler wise, which there wasn't a whole lot to spoil. However, I really like the episode. Dustin, I'm curious how are you feeling about it?
I'm excited. I don't think it's bad necessarily. It was fine. I think we got a fairly okay start to this season because season 3 of Mandalorian started 2 episodes from the end of Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
And I feel like if that had been our proper season 3 kickoff, I'd be a little bit more excited. But I think the rest of the season is going to be good. I think this was just probably the lowest key kickoff to a Mandalorian season we've had out of the 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can see that. I was really excited by a lot of it. And maybe I'm just in the minority because, Alex, how do you feel?
Lukewarm. I think kind of like Dustin. I'm excited to see where it goes. But as more time has gone on, am more firmly in the camp of really feeling like the Mandalorian episodes in Boba Fett totally undid the emotional arc of the first 2 years of this show. And I don't love the taste that leaves in my mouth, because it makes me wonder, like, what am I actually invested in here if everything is just going to return to stasis at the end?
I can
danger was gone.
See that.
That being said, I'm still interested in the places that we're going to go this season, and there were a lot of aspects of this episode that excited me. Yeah, so lukewarm. I'm like half and half on this one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
And like, well, yeah. But you seem pretty enthusiastic, Trev.
Yeah, I think I thought it was okay the first time, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, oh, I really like all of this. And
I think this is the first time since we have done this that I didn't rewatch the episode before we recorded.
Yeah, and I think it's not even necessarily what happens plot wise. It's just more the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
And as much as I think Andor is a really great show, this current, and Book of Boba Fett was good in its own ways. Bad Batch has its own thing. Kenobi was, I think, exciting in the moment, but this just feels like more of the the classic Coke, the proper brand of Star Wars at the moment.
It's the warm blanket.
Captures all this stuff. And I think that it does it really well. I think the visuals, just to, go back to the Kenobi thing, like comparing the Kenobi visuals and production value to this is night and day crazy difference, because this feels like a movie. Every time there's a creature popping up, we saw the N1 starfighter landing on Navarro. I'm like, this looks like it could, I was constantly comparing it to movies and other TV where I'm like, no, this tracks.
The effects are as good or as better than ever, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I still think the worst episode of this is probably better than the best episode of Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. And it's also, and we're also in the situation of like, Andor is a super hard act to follow. Because it's like we've been attending this long form concert of Star Wars stuff, and like, every band on the bill is like a riff on something that we've known. It's all the same kind of thing. And then there's like the band that no one has heard of before, or like maybe you've heard like one single and it was interesting, but you haven't seen that much more. And then we get fucking Andor. It's like, oh shit, this is what I was actually at the festival for. And we go back to the stuff that, is like safer and is still fun, but like, now we know, or at least for me, like now I know that like that's within the capabilities of this franchise on TV. And I kind of feel like Mando has a little bit more to live up to now. I know it's a different show. I just think that there's aspects of it that are comparatively, like, what Mando could be brought up a little bit by referencing some of how Andor was put together. That's all.
Yeah. No, I'd agree there. All right. So, but with that, do you want to like talk about the specific things that we do like in the episode? And we can start with, there's kind of 3 chapters to this episode. We can start with the first part, which I don't know what the planet is. I did not do my research in looking up.
Oh, wherever the Mandalorians are hanging out?
Yeah, wherever all these Mandalorians are hanging out, and we got the armor, and she's building some new armor. And it took me a second. I thought we were seeing Dumbledore's pensieve, and we're going to see some memories at first. But then she started making the armor.
I fully thought that this was, like, literally up until Din Djarin shows up in his ship, I thought that we were seeing him as a child becoming a Mandalorian.
Yeah. And
I was feeling the same way. And I was looking at the kid actor, and I'm like, this doesn't, I feel like, if this is what this is, I don't know if this casting is quite right. So
yeah.
Yeah, he looked more like young Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
He did. And I liked that scene up until it became apparent that it was in present day. Kind of everything that happened after the crocodile coming out of the water, I don't really have anything good to say about until they get to Navarro. I didn't really like any of it. But I did like the fake out.
Yes, me too.
But so we're talking about likes. Yes, I like the fake out. I like that part.
The fake out.
And the effect
That's
on the
fun.
croc was very cool. Did you send a picture of the croc? You did.
Yeah,
right?
we can send a picture. This is actually this is official in the like descriptive audio, and if you look on Wikipedia, this is a dinosaur turtle. Is the official name? I'm like, what? This is not right. Like, which if this is back in the the Kenner action figure days, that would make sense.
Sure.
Because you got Hammerhead and Snaggletooth, and they just threw words together that made sense on Earth. But calling
Monkey
something like
rat.
this a dinosaur turtle right now is weird.
Yeah, it seems bizarre.
It
Although I
does.
do like that that space crocodile does a death roll when he's attacking.
He does do that.
Which cool. Take my greatest fear and make it bigger and in space. Thanks, Lucasfilms.
I would take a sequel to Anaconda that is just a Star Wars movie. Or
I'd be fine with
Lake
that.
Placid. I meant Lake Placid. Let's do because wasn't there a Lake Placid versus Anaconda? Did that not happen at some
I
point?
believe there were like 2 Lake Placid sequels, and one of them was that.
Okay, great. Okay, moving on.
I would also take a Star Wars Anaconda sequel.
Even the creature design, because Sarah, during the end of the episode where we see all the fun designs that they were working with, and she's like, oh wow, like she really liked that original design better, which had more like a beak. It was it was unique.
It was a little weirder. Yeah, this is a little more dinosaur turtle-y.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's not turtly enough for the Turtle Club.
What other likes you guys have about this episode, or Trav? Or did you want to do this in sections, or did you want to do it for your overall likes? We're trying a new format, guys. This shit is live.
Kind of new.
Yeah.
Let's try doing it through sections.
Okay.
Of this episode.
Okay, so we're in likes.
So we're in likes.
So do you guys have other
more
likes about this whole first section of the episode before they get in the spaceship?
The first section of the
This
spaceship
guy
were
showed back up.
yeah, we
That
got
guy showing back
Pazuzu.
up. Yep.
This is great. We're talking everything that's just on this planet is the first section. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've hit all my likes for this section.
Oh, what did you think about the child helmet that looks just like the child helmets you would buy at Target?
It seemed like a starter helmet, right? Those Mandos get starter stuff. Like the one
It also
when we
seemed
met
like-
Din, he had all his like junk armor.
It also seemed like it was too small for that kid's head with all that hair.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
It sealed up
I was
real
like, you
nice
should-
though. You heard it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you
Can we
shave
seg
that
into
kid.
Can we seg into the dislikes now, because I want to talk
Oh,
about
so you want to
that.
go likes and dislikes per section?
Let's do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Then
I'm into
it'll
it.
Stay.
Okay.
Because I did notice that sound, and I'm like, all right, cool. I think this is, it feels like a familiar sound where we know how it sounds when Darth Vader goes in the suit. However, I'm like, what's sealing? Like,
Yeah. What's it sucking to?
exactly. I'm like, it's just a helmet going on a kid. Which
Yeah.
To me, it's
That's where
I know that's a
this
nitpicky
whole
weird
first
thing.
15 minutes starts to fall apart. Is
Yeah.
with that sound, because then we have this thing come out that they all just start fighting instead of just freaking leaving.
I'm like, yeah, just go. Everyone
Just
go in the cave.
go.
They told the kids to go in the cave. I'm like, why isn't everybody else going?
Just bail.
Yeah.
There's no honor in just like fighting a random thing that just pops out of nowhere, like a creature. It's not like an intelligent species is like invading and you have to repel the invading force. You just have to get away from the giant dinosaur turtle. And there's a cave right behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're
it
all
didn't
using
even-
blasters that don't seem to do anything to it.
Yeah.
And
No.
nobody's using the rocket launchers on their back.
No, and they keep using these thermal detonators. They put thermal detonators all over the most armored part of the damn thing, rather than just like chucking a sack of them down its throat and blowing it up from the inside. It's just so bafflingly stupid for this race of people who are supposed to be warriors to the core.
They also don't even think to take to the sky until after like 2 minutes of getting absolutely thrashed.
No, like what? Oh, just everything.
And also, like, in general, Bonehead moved to do that right next to a place where you have to know that things like this probably live.
Totally.
And probably feed on animals that are coming there for water.
Totally. And like, there's like 15 of you guys left. You know, you gotta be a little more careful with how you spend those lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the dinosaur turtle, it was just a buffet. It was like, hey.
Thanks for showing up at my doorstep, guys. Love these baptisms. Love these Christian parallels you bring to my lake, guys. And then I'm excited to see where the journey takes us, but I think Din's whole journey, I can't identify with Din trying to get back into this whole cult. It's stupid.
Yeah, I can't identify with that. I accept it.
Yeah, I accept it.
What he wants to do. However, I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
I feel like
it makes
beyond it at this point.
Yeah, like, dude, you're
like,
free to do whatever you want. You got the dark saber.
Yeah,
like
you've discovered the
cool
larger
new
universe. Ship. You've discovered love.
Yeah, like, this is your Rumspringa and you're blowing it.
That's absolutely it. That's absolutely it. So, yeah, I think that sums up my whole feelings on this whole opening of the show. Cool to see the ship in action. Always good to see that starfighter in action.
Love, and there's a sequence later that talk about likes.
Yeah, that's a great sequence.
So he talks to the armor. He's like, I want to get back in. She's like, no, you can't. He's like, what about the thing you told me to do? She said, yeah, that's not really possible. So he's like, oh, so you basically told me I could get back in when hell freezes over? She's like, pretty much. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to go do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah,
so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And they go to space.
And then we see this really cool, light speed section. And little baby Grogu, he's looking around in that, light speed tunnel that we're familiar with. And he sees some shadows in there. And what are the shadows? They are Purrgil.
Yeah.
Making their appearance in live action.
This is very freaking cool.
Yeah. So Dustin, the Purrgil are this race of space whale octopus things that travel through light speed. And,
okay. So Star Wars Eldritch Horrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're force sensitive and friendly to Ezra.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Because Ezra has a certain connection with animals. So he was able to kind of like communicate with them. And in Rebels, the spoilers for the finale of Rebels, everybody and Dustin, which if you're watching Ahsoka, you'll just have to get used
this
to.
is going to be in any recap video you would watch going into Ahsoka.
So Thrawn and Ezra, the one of the Purrgils, like, gets their tentacles around Thrawn and a Star Destroyer, which Ezra is aboard, and they take off to God knows where. And
Somewhere.
So that is the whole thesis statement for the Ahsoka series, is trying to find Ezra and Thrawn because the Purrgils took them somewhere and they do not know where.
Interesting.
It'll be very interesting to see if and when these things come back and how Grogu interacts with them. I'm excited for that prospect. This is great. Thumbs up. I assume this is Filoni influence. I would presume.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And the big question is, will he interact with them better than Ezra?
That would be interesting. Oh man, I just can't wait for for Grogu to hang out with more Jedi again. So what's next? We're in Navarro now, right?
Then they land on Navarro.
Time has passed, and Navarro is hopping.
It's hopping, and it's like sunny. Which it's like,
and
it was
lousy.
It's so gray at the first season, and I'm like, did they get rid of some like weird pollution in the air?
Maybe they got to actually install air purifiers.
Yeah. And it's also lousy with salacious crumbs.
Yeah, I love the Kowakian monkey lizards just hanging out in the tree. I love in this whole section just kind of giving us a little bit of shading on what's going on with the New Republic and the Outer Rim and kind of just that whole state of space politics at this point in the galaxy's history. And I really like the poochieing of Cara Dune in this scene as well.
I was gonna say, I wish that they had just outright said that Cara Dune died on the way back to her home planet, but this was just about as good.
She was recruited by special forces. Great.
Yeah.
Special forces in hell.
Yeah, Filoni said that, he wanted to keep Cara Dune alive in the Mando universe, which is fine because it's not out of the question. Even though, stuff with the actress that played her,
Just
the character
recast
itself
somebody.
is still, beloved. She could be recast. She could be in an animated series.
Totally, yeah. She could get a comic book. No,
Exactly.
then she would look like Gina Carano. They have to recast her first. That's the thing. She has to look like someone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I was excited for that show before I knew she was a psycho.
Yeah.
It was a nice time. Remember?
Now she's off making... Oh, remember when I have an online footprint of praise for Gina Carano as this character? Remember how on Wax, on more than one occasion, I have confessed both my adoration and straight up romantic feelings for this actor / character?
Which that'll be the super cut, at the end of this episode, the stinger will be all of Dustin talking about Gina Carano.
It'll be the thing that gets me canceled, and Fox News will bill it as Dustin Meadows comes out in praise of that shitty Western she made with Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, then Dustin, if you can get us an in with Ben Shapiro.
Oh my God.
All right, all right, Alex, we've talked about.
You can have him co-host the show when I'm not here.
He can only
How
co-host
fun
when
would
I
that
can.
be, Alex? If Ben Shapiro did you would absolutely listen if he covered Mandalorian with us on an episode.
I would listen to, yes, if for some ungodly reason Ben Shapiro were to be in this rectangle right here on the show, I would watch / listen to that. That is true. I think it's a terrible idea.
Just to get more proof of why he failed as a screenwriter.
Oh my God.
We've got to make it happen.
I couldn't get John Payson. If I couldn't get John Payson, I don't want Ben Shapiro. John Payson directed Joe's Apartment. This is a reference to a podcast we did 3 years ago. Where I wrote a letter in the mail and sent it to London trying to get in touch with this guy.
Remember when I reached out to a guy who I thought directed and you thought your parents were weird? And he was same guy or guy with the same name who was a professor in Arizona. He said, "You are not the first person to mistake me for this man. I do not know how to get a hold of him."
That's amazing.
True tales of Hollywood, guys. What about I went over my likes about Navarro. I dug this whole sequence. I liked the gangsters a lot. The pirate scene is fun.
Yeah,
I think it's a super fun scene.
I really like that standoff with the space pirates.
I really like Grief Karga's tiny cape robots.
Yes, that's my favorite part.
I think those are great.
Little cape robots.
I think if Lando saw those, he would be aghast that he didn't have such a thing in his cape repertoire.
And the whole sequence of him talking about how great Navarro is doing is very reminiscent of Lando giving them the tour of Cloud City. And
For sure.
Yeah, look at all this awesome stuff we're doing here.
Yeah, I used to be all piratey, but now I'm respectable. Check out what I've done here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was also nice because I think literally that same day I had just watched Ivan Drago kill Carl Weathers, so it was nice to see him breathing again so quickly after.
So nice. And then he gives Mando a handshake, which even though it's not exactly like the Arnold handshake
the Predator
from
one,
it has the same energy to it.
Yes.
Totally does, yeah.
I literally I think was watching with my roommate, my fiance, and we both even said something to the effect of was Navarro got you pushing too many pencils or something? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and do you have more to say about the pirates? You sent me you sent me a screen cap of one of the pirates.
Oh yeah, just because I love this Nikto pirate named Vane. I just really like the fact that it's a familiar species with makeup,
and it's good makeup. It's great makeup in the sense that it is classic Star Wars monster makeup, where the lips like are not at all articulated, and I love it.
And the performance I really loved. It felt so much like this character was somehow Gary Oldman from the 90s.
Yeah.
Is what
I was into this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, great character.
Sorry. Do we seen IG-11 yet? I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, then we can segue into the IG-11 stuff, which is like, hey, you got this statue. Can we disassemble it so that I can get my droid boy back? Which apparently the statue was half made of the real thing. Did not know that.
It's just funny and weird. I'm very conflicted about how I feel about the idea of bringing back IG-11. On one hand, I love this series of assassin droids. I love these guys. I love seeing them in action. More Taika Waititi stuff. Thumbs up. Yes. At the same time, this guy like grew a conscience and sacrificed itself, and now you just want to be like, hey, come on, we got work to do. Come back.
Yeah. It's I just, as the biggest fan of IG-11, and I was so mournful when we lost him in season 1. I should be so excited, and I am for the same reasons you are, Alex. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, what? This is weird that we're like dipping back into this.
Yeah.
Like, so many.
Well, also narratively, like if this was an option, why didn't this happen
right
forever ago?
Why isn't he like the security patrolling Navarro?
Yeah, like you were just waiting on Mando to come by and just be like, hey, have you tried turning it back on? Like, what?
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right. And then the sequence. I love this sequence where they've got like half of him on the table and they turn him back on. And it's cool because the way that IG-11 went out was very Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And then this whole sequence of him crawling on the floor going after Grogu was very much the end of the first Terminator.
Yes.
That's all I was thinking of.
I like that. I thought that was a great sequence.
Yeah.
It even has this like stop motion like quality to the animation that I'm like, oh, this looks so good.
It was great. I truly loved this moment. And I loved the protocol droid knocking over a giant brass bust of Grief Karga onto IG-11's head to stop it.
Yep.
And then we got a line that would make Lucas proud. Now that's using your head.
Yeah. Sounds like C-3PO could have said it in Attack of the Clones.
Yes, that is exactly the type of Lucas humor that is. Didn't love that part. Whole rest of it was great.
And then we go from that to, hey, let's take him to the Anzellans.
Yes.
Which the Anzellans are this guy.
Babu Frick!
Yeah, Babu Fricks!
This sequence was so great.
Which is exactly what happened here.
Yeah. This sequence is great. I read somebody must have written this on Slash Film because that's the only thing I read, and I'll go on about this a little bit. But it seems like there is an attempt being made within this show to kind of codify or legitimize the sequel trilogy in the same way that Filoni kind of uplifted the prequel trilogy through the Clone Wars and through this show. And if it means more Babu Fricks, I'm very, very here for that.
Oh yeah, I am pro that. I also like one of my favorite bits of this entire episode is Grogu just aggressively hugging one of them.
Yeah,
because they're about the only thing besides frogs that he can push around.
Yeah, that is the screen cap we have up right now.
Yeah, no respect for personal bubbles. He's just like, hey, I'm going in for it.
Yep.
And then they're saying, bad baby afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. This whole sequence is so good. This legit might be my favorite part of the episode. It's just the sequence in their shop,
and like
No
Din in
squeezy,
there,
bad
like
baby.
totally bent in half, trying to just to be in the same room as these little guys.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
Yeah, like sitting cross-legged and like still hunched over.
Yeah, I love it.
And I love that they are all voiced by Shirley Henderson, again, who voiced Babu Frick in Rise of Skywalker.
So they're
Amazing.
like Pokemon, like all of them just sound and look exactly the same within the species.
Mm-hmm.
Great, I love it.
There is, I meant to do this and I did not. In the Rise of Skywalker making of documentary, which one might argue is better than the movie itself, that is on the Blu-ray. They're going through the behind the scenes of Babu Frick and Shirley voicing it and doing the puppeteering work. And she did one cut of it where Babu's like screaming and telling them to go, go, go. And it like goes on for like 20 seconds. And JJ is just like, losing it, like dying laughing. And it's a really funny scene.
I'll have to watch that. I'll have to break out
I
my
would have
Blu-ray.
loved, that to be in the actual movie.
Oh man. Anything else in this section, or is the next section the taking off this next section in space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they tell him he's got to get some kind of a certain part to fix old IG-11's memory, which at first he was having a hard time understanding what they were saying, and then Grief kept interpreting, but like we could tell what they were saying, and Amanda was like, "Yeah, I think I get it now."
I liked that. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say poodoo. That's good.
Yeah, they do.
I always like a good poodoo.
Poodoo.
And then we get this great space battle with the pirates trying to ambush Din in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he obliterates them. This is a great space sequence.
Awesome sequence. Really, I love good dogfights in Star Wars, which I feel like I have not seen recently.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last like really good dogfight was, and this is one of them. I feel like there's just not a whole lot of them in the sequel trilogy. There are like space battles. There's, the one in Last Jedi at the beginning, which, it's great for what it is. And there's the blast battle and Rise of Skywalker, which is just a bunch of chaos. It's just really nice to have this focused, sequence.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like most of them are full out like battles, and like whereas this it's like one person against a handful of ships.
Right.
Like, and that's I feel like usually when we get those I enjoy a lot more.
Yeah, it's goes back to like the Falcon and the asteroid field, or the Falcon escaping with the TIE fighters, chasing them in A New Hope. It just is reminiscent of that. And even in Attack of the Clones with Obi-Wan and Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Made me think of a lot.
And then the end of the space battle, he comes face to face with Gorian Shard, the pirate gangster, new guy. I'm putting him up on the screen right now. Slow fade. And my God, I love this design.
Me too. I loved it. And I've seen like some people like shitting on it. I'm like, how can you?
But this guy is straight out of Clone Wars. This guy is such a Star Wars weirdo. This guy is Swamp Thing plus Pizza the Hut.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
And he's just like, the fact that it's all practical and we get multiple shots of him. I mean, I'm guessing and hoping we're seeing more of him later on.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just like the way, and he gets up and he's moving, and the way he moves, I'm like, I love that this is all a practical thing, and we didn't see. I'm not saying we didn't see anything CG, but to my eye, I did not see anything that was like egregious CG.
And it's also kind of reminiscent. Do you guys remember that show Farscape? That Henson Studios sci-fi show? It's a little Farscapey. in a cool way.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I was into this episode for the parts that I was into. Story wise, we'll see, but this part I love.
Yeah, the space pirates are a welcome addition.
And we get one more scene, right? There's one more scene.
We do.
He goes to visit the Bo-Katan.
Yeah, he goes to a castle to visit Bo-Katan, and
when he's lounging,
just lounging. Which Alex, you can throw up that visual because she's sitting on this throne. I think she, took her cue from Darth Maul sitting on a throne on Mandalore in the final episodes of the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
very similar vibes.
Maul invented sitting comfortably on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's given off like jerk vibes.
And has completely given up on uniting the Mandalorians and leading them.
And has completely changed her tune about Mandalore.
Yeah, like 180, almost out of nowhere.
Yeah, like one of the first times we meet her, she's like, "Don't believe everything you hear about Mandalore being poison." And now Din's like, "I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna go and bathe in the waters of the mines." And she's like, "It's all poison. It's all crystal. What are you talking about?" And Din is confused, as are we, the audience, because what are you talking about, lady? It's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I feel like the last time we saw her, I got the vibe that she was almost ready, like on the spot, to challenge him for the Darksaber.
Right.
Absolutely. That's definitely the energy.
And now she's just like,
meh.
I'm not really about it.
I'm tired.
My friends all left. I'm just chilling in this castle alone.
I've been obsessed with this, for decades. This is all I wanted to get and do. And, we're just over this.
And another thing, just one other thing about this, like her hanging out in this throne room. This room is huge. There is nothing in there. What is she doing? There.
Nobody else is around her.
There's not like any kind of like a like a tablet or some kind of a visual interface where she could be like reading or interacting or anything. She's literally just sitting by herself in a massive room.
Yeah, for someone who's got maybe the most extra Mandalorian armor I've ever seen, she got really into minimalism all of a sudden.
Yeah. So
she just, in this episode, everything about her just exists as a plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time it's like, this is not the Bo-Katan that we have been seeing.
Yeah. So,
no, not in Clone Wars, not in Rebels, and not in last season.
So this will be interesting to see how this progresses. That's the episode, right?
Very true. That's how it ends. She says, "Go to hell." He's like, "I will."
Yeah.
A couple other little notes. I noticed that Dean Cundey shot this.
Cundey shot. That's why it looks so good.
Yeah, Dean Cundey shot a lot of the Boba Fett. I think he shot a little Mando too, but we all know Dean Cundey is John Carpenter's director of photography for all the best John Carpenter movies and the Back to the Future trilogy and Jurassic Park. And,
he's got some hits.
Yeah. So that was fun to see. I like that he's just like regularly working on Mandalorian now. That makes me happy. I hope he's nice to the crew. What else? I read an interview snippet where Favreau said that Grogu was training with Luke for 2 years.
Yes.
And that Mando and Grogu have been traveling together for, quote, years. So we don't really know when this is at this point, do we?
Yeah, it's anywhere from like 1 to 2 years, it sounds like.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
The previous season.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that this whole, the way that things played out in the Book of Boba Fett, felt very rushed and weird. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be going on for this long? It feels like he just started to get to know Luke.
Yeah.
It feels like everything is very new, not like, this has been the status quo for a while.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I was going to ape from that Slash Film article I was kind of saying is like the thing that the difference between trying to elevate the prequels versus the sequels is the bones of the prequels were very good. the conceptual broad strokes of those stories were solid, and those are the stories that lead to the stories that we grew up with. Whereas the storytelling in a bunch of the sequel trilogy is straight up just like scatterbrained and bad. So to try to codify that into the same universe in the same way is an uphill battle that I'm interested to see how they're gonna fight, but you know, I'm not hoping you can't really polish a turd.
Yeah.
Well,
still a turd.
You can.
It's a shiny turd.
That's true.
I mean, like Rise of Skywalker is a shiny turd. That's a compliment for that movie. Very shiny.
Probably the nicest thing anyone said about it.
Oh my.
Oh, one more call out, because I'm going to cut back to our title card for this episode. The key art for this, like the posters everyone has been seeing, were designed by Adrienne Walker, who's one of Angela's good friends.
Oh,
nice.
She works at the LA agency who has the account for Disney and for Star Wars, and Adrienne does like most, if not all, of the Star Wars stuff. Her key graphic for Star Wars Celebration was the last big thing.
Nice. Great job, Adrienne.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I really like the key art for the season. I think she did a killer job.
Oh yeah, it is great looking.
I don't know. I think that's all I got about this episode. What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, I didn't have much to say going in, and I think I've said the few things that I did have.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are we looking forward to? What do we hope to see? Because I'm going to say that I hope that he's going to Mandalore. He's going to find out if it's poisoned or not. And I really hope it's like radiation poisoning, and we're going to see a bunch of mutants.
Oh, that'd be dope.
And it's going to be like Basket Case in Star Wars.
That'd be amazing.
Oh man, don't tempt me with something that I know I'll never have.
Grogu just gets fused to Din, and now he just carries him around in that little cradle
Holy
thing.
shit!
And then he just flies out and attacks the little frog creatures.
Oh my god! And then I'm more thinking in like Basket Case 2 and 3, where there's the home of the many misfit weirdo mutants, and Basket Case movies are good, guys. Frank Henenlotter made some great movies.
Oh yeah, Henenlotter's a madman.
No, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of the big lore stuff. You know, like obviously this is going to tie in pretty heavily with Ahsoka. And you know, Pepper's also been saying we're kind of in the middle of the story. I just don't want the storytelling to get lazy and just relying on things that we know the audience likes. You know, the gambles on stuff we didn't know we liked in Star Wars television terms have all paid off.
Yes.
So more of that. Like, we know we like the things we like, pepper them in, sure, but like everything that we didn't know we liked yet, we've responded well to. So
yeah,
that's part of like what this show was built on.
Right, exactly.
Is this kind of thing. So just keep doing that and don't be afraid to be like, all right, we can separate Mando and Grogu for a while, which they are not going to do.
Right.
But
yeah.
They acted like they were.
Right. And they got scared.
Yeah.
Or Disney got scared, or Kathleen Kennedy got scared. Someone, I don't know.
I would say Disney probably got scared, most likely.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that they will continue to just rip off westerns and samurai stuff, because that's when I think the show is at its best.
For sure.
Obviously, I'm holding out to see my number one, Cobb Vanth, pop up again.
Yeah, there. You know,
doesn't seem like too far fetched.
Yeah, he said that Navarro's looking for a marshal.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We got a marshal that could fill the spot.
Get him.
Yeah, I'm very, very hopeful for that. Yeah, and just I feel like every season of the show has brought in like fun new characters, and like some amazing, like legitimately like great performances and scenes that we've never seen in Star Wars. Like like the last season, I think of stuff like, God, the scene between Bill Burr and Richard Brake when they storm that compound, like stuff like that, like just these amazing, like kind of intimate little moments like that we're not used to seeing as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I think this episode is only the way it is because they squeezed Mandalorian into the tail end of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I think in the next episode or two they'll probably get it back on track, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is, because it feels like it's that way because of Book of Boba Fett, and
Yes.
also they cannot, like, there's going to be a lot of people that did not watch Book of Boba Fett but watched the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, and it's kind of like,
Which the recap for this episode does not account for.
no, it doesn't. It's kind of like tells them like this is what's happening now.
Right.
It does, like him getting the armor telling him to go to the caves and bathe. That's from Book of Boba Fett, but yeah, nothing else.
Yeah. We'll see what happens on Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. And well, we're gonna say goodbye to Alex for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working on a movie for the next few weeks. So gonna have to do without. But if I have time to record a brief little thing of thoughts, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Basket Case 4. Very excited for you.
I'm psyched for Basket Case 4, guys.
All right. Well, so we will be back next week. Same bat time and channel, most likely. And so Dustin, in the meantime, where can people find more of you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dustin Meadows. You can also follow my YouTube. It's Dustin Meadows Comedy. It's where a lot of my short films live, some of my music stuff. I actually just about finished editing my current short. So that'll be live in the next week or two. So yeah, just follow me on all that stuff.
Well, cool. And Alex, where can people find you while you're working on the movie?
Yeah, I'm on the Instagram. Maybe I'll post from the set. Who knows? But I'm at Alex Brunel, like it says there, and I have a website, abrunel.com. Otherwise, just watch Shrinking on Apple TV Plus so we can get a season 2. Because
everyone keep watching.
I want to do that. There's a great scene in this past week's episode that I was really proud to pull focus on.
Nice. And you can find me at Travis Fishburne. Find the show at whowatchespodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at whowatchespod. Subscribe to YouTube, leave reviews, comments, and all of the good stuff. Let us know who your favorite Anzellan is. It's most likely Babu Frick.
Yeah.
And
All of them.
yeah. And so until next week, commence self-destruct sequencing.